In this video, I will be putting every Apex legend into a tier list. The three main attributes I'll be ranking the legends on are how good they are in public games, how good they are in ranked games, and most importantly, how fun the legend is. Let's get right into it. First off, we're going to start with a D tier. The only legend I have in D tier is Mad Maggie. As we know, Mad Maggie released in season 11, no 12, and she didn't really have an impact. She's passive with the boosted shotgun speed isn't the most useful, and she obviously has the thing where she can see through walls and stuff for a brief time. It's barely noticeable. The tactical can be good in certain situations, but most of the time the enemy will move out the way, or it does very little damage. Ult is probably the best bit. The Wrecking Ball can be really fun to use, but always be aware your enemies can use this thing as well. Okay, up next we are going to go into C tier. Firstly, at the bottom of C tier, I have put Wattson. Wattson is an alright legend, can be fun. She has a good passive with the ability to regenerate shields and the boosted use to ultimate accelerants, but her fences I think are definitely the weakest bit. Can be easily destroyed by enemies. They don't do much damage. They can be easily seen as well. They're quite good on zip lines, but that's about it. Her ultimate, the Pylon, is actually really good. A really good ultimate. It's a bit like a trophy system. Deflects, like destroys grenades, like airstrikes and stuff. Really good. Recharges shields. It's a really good ult. Wattson is definitely a good legend. I think a little changes to the fences to make them more of a trap really, and I think that should be in a really good spot. Next up in C tier, I've put Rampart. Rampart is actually a really fun legend to play, but she obviously has she lacks mobility. She obviously has the walls, which are mainly like a camping device, really. Obviously the boosted LMG reload and ammo account. It's not most useful, but especially with the Spitfire back though, it definitely moves up a bit in terms of useful passives. Her ultimate is obviously Sheila, really good, just lacks a bit of mobility. But yeah, Rampart is a fun legend, maybe a bit more speed given to her and she'll be in a good spot. Up next in C tier we have Lifeline. Lifeline I think is still a good legend. Her drone is a really nice thing to have, but the 35-second cooldown is not. It's a bit old school in my opinion. It definitely should be lowered to about 25. Her passive is actually quite nice. The reviving. Get to revive both teammates can be clutch, especially with a gold bag. But yeah, it makes a lot of noise. Like you can hear it from quite far distance if someone's getting revived by a Lifeline drone. Her ult is definitely the weakest bit of a kit. It has a huge cooldown. Doesn't give you anything useful. When I play Lifeline, I'm never using that thing. Simple as. But yeah, Lifeline is in a weird spot, but a couple of changes make her a bit up to date and should definitely be back where she belongs. Final legend in C tier is Crypto. Crypto is a fun legend to play. Very unique with his drone. His drone is actually super nice now, that you can either just fly it around like this, mark enemies, mark if any enemies are in the area. You can obviously call it. Actually send it out now as well, which is super nice. But obviously it can be destroyed. Crypto's passive is definitely his weakest bit. I feel like it should be built in and he should have a much better passive. He obviously has recon as well, so you can search for survey beacons. His EMP is also really good at countering stuff, destroying like fences and traps. the 50 shield damage is really good as well. Slows enemies down. A really good play with it, and it can change the game. Crypto is definitely pushing B tier. I think a new passive, and he could very, very easily be B and probably even A tier, because it's definitely fun and unique legend to play. Okay, we are moving into the B tier. First off is Mirage. In my opinion, the most fun legend to play. Always have a good time. His passive can be good. The invisible revive and invisible respawn is nice. You can send his individual decoy out, bamboozle the enemies. A really fun thing to troll enemies with. It's not the most useful. I do wish it did a bit of damage or something, because obviously when the enemy shoots, they get marked on screen for a bit. You obviously can control it as well. His ultimate, I think it's called Life of Party, spawns a bunch of decoys. Really strong, really fun to use, bamboozle the enemies. Can throw off a lot of people. Really fast cooldowns. Mirage, he's the ultimate pubs legend, has a great personality. And it's definitely, yeah, a great legend to play. Up next, we have got Newcastle. Newcastle is obviously brand new this season. He can revive people, and while reviving, he has a huge shield and can drag fallen teammates. Super nice, especially if you have a teammate who is not in a bad position. Really useful. He's actually fun to play as well. He has a great personality as well. He has his shield. This thing is actually pretty good as well. You can redirect it. It's definitely way better than the Rampart wall. It's really fun. Obviously you can walk through it and stuff. His ultimate, the barrier. It's good, really good for repositioning Newcastle himself and putting a barrier in a really good area. Has a pretty fast cooldown as well, like all this stuff. His shield when he reses matches his knockdown shield, which is good. If you have a gold one, you're probably going to be in a really good position with Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle definitely deserves a good spot in Apex and was a nice addition to the game. Up next, we have got Revenant in B tier. Revenant is a good legend. His passive is really good. You can climb up stuff, and when you crouch, you go really fast. You can climb really high lengths with Revenant. He has his silence grenade, probably the most underrated ability in the game. Obviously, turns off the ability for the enemy if they get hit by it and does a small damage, but turning off the ability bit makes it really unique and really strong. Definitely very underrated. But Revenant, he's definitely a really good legend. Pretty underrated. He's obviously has totem for his ultimate. His ultimate is really, really good as well. It is nerfed a bit, which probably doesn't really put him any higher. Obviously now it makes a lot of noise, and you sort of has that huge like glow around it, letting everyone know when one's put down. But yeah, super easy. Basically gives you a free push, free chance to do a load of damage. Really good, combining with other legends, especially movement legends. Yeah, Revenant, an excellent choice. Up next we have Caustic. Caustic, his passive lets him see through his own gas, like highlights the enemies in red. His ability is tactical ability, the gas trap. You can set them off. Good at blocking areas, blocking doors, holding down areas. Does damage over time to enemies, goes up, I think it's every 2 ticks of damage. His ultimate, the gas grenade, basically is gas inside the barrel, just as a grenade form. Good for covering areas. Caustic, he also has fortified as well, very good legend. Caustic deserves his spot in Apex, and a good choice. And next we have Bangalore. Bangalore is a very balanced legend. Passive is really underrated. It's obviously double time, get fast movement when enemies are targeting you. Super nice. She has a smokes as well. Really good for repositioning, causing confusion. Just be careful you don't mess up one of your teammates. Really good for reviving as well. Really good with the digi sight. Definitely an excellent choice. Her ultimate is a Rolling Thunder. Has a pretty long cooldown, but really good for clearing out an area, like just moving, causing separation and stuff, causing damage. Good for forcing people out of areas. Just a really good thing for large area coverage. Yeah, Bangalore, super good legend, super fun. Up next, and our final legend in BT is Fuse. Fuse, super fun legend to play. He has his passive, obviously, just lets him hold more grenades, and you can obviously launch them. His tactical knuckle cluster, super underrated knuckle cluster, super fun to use as well. It's just so fun to play. His ultimate is obviously his Motherload. Motherload, I'm gonna be, if I be honest, is probably his worst bit, but it's still really fun to use. Has a pretty fast cooldown as well. Good for trapping enemies in a circle. Really good for causing just mayhem. Really, he's just a fun legend who really is just used to cause mayhem. He's definitely more of a public game legend. It's really good to see him. Been really fun to use. Okay, we are now moving into the A tier. Bottom of A tier is Seer. In my opinion, the most underrated legend in the entirety of Apex Legends. Seer, he has his heartbeat sensor. It's not as strong as it used to be, but still has a decent range. Obviously good for knowing the general area of enemies. He has his drones, marks health and enemy location. Really, really useful. Also blocks reviving and healing as well. He has his ultimate, which is like that drone dome of drones. Basically anyone moving, like running, any running or fighting in there, just marks it for you and your team. Really good for knowing the position of a bunch of enemies. Super underrated as well. Yeah, in my opinion, definitely most underrated legend. And yeah, super fun to play as, and has a cool backstory. Next, I have put Pathfinder above Seer in A tier. Pathfinder, super good legend, super fun to play as well. He has his passive, which isn't the best. So basically, when he scans survey beacons, he can get his zipline, his ultimate, instantly. He has his grapple. Super fun to just grapple around. Can make some nice plays with it. It's really fun to use Pathfinder. He obviously has grapple, which is his zipline, I should say, which is used to go from a point to point, a bit like these ones around here, like there, just linking the areas to go to. He has a pretty fast cooldown as well. Pathfinder, he's just an all-round really good legend for positioning himself and this team. Super fun to play and has a great story as well. Okay, up next I have put Ashe. Ashe is a really good legend. Her passive is the death box, the thing that lets her check death boxes around the map, just locates them. Marking the death box on the map will tell you how recently the death box has died, letting your whole team know. Really good if you're looking for enemies to fight or just looking for general positions in ranked. She's really good at that. Then she has her tactical, which locks the enemy in place and does a bit of damage. Super good. Has a good range as well. If you get trapped by one of them by a good Ashe, it's pretty much game over for you. Her ultimate allows you to take a pole to one area. You only can use it to go to the area. You can't use it to go back. It is actually really good for positioning. It's a bit awkward to use and can take time to learn. But Ashe is a super good legend, really good in ranked and public games, and is an excellent choice. Up next in A tier is Octane. Octane is definitely Still, he's had his nerfs. He obviously has this passive where he regenerates health naturally, which is super good. You don't have to carry as many heals and stuff. He has his tactical, which is his stim. His stim is really nice. Obviously you get the speed boost, but it takes some health, which is really good. And his ultimate is obviously his launch pad, which can be used to go to different locations by himself, has his team, and obviously enemies can use it as well. The launch pad is good because you get freedom with it. It's not like a zipline where you have to go to one area. When using it, you can just sort of like bounce around on the pad and go to different areas, which is super nice. And Octane, he's definitely more of a public game legend now, but he's super fun to play. Has a cool story as well, with him like blowing off his legs with the grenades and stuff. But yeah, super fun legend to play, and it's definitely deserving of a good spot. Now, final legend in A tier, I have put Loba, and in my opinion, the best legend in A tier. Loba, her passive lets her see through walls like this. You can see the good loot, like you can see the gold stuff and red stuff. But they're super nice, especially sometimes if you have a bad landing. You might need to know which ones has the best chests, best loot and stuff. Her tactical is her bracelet, really good for going to new positions, getting high ground, really good for getting high ground and just general movement. It's her ultimate is a black market. Black market is super useful. You obviously put it down and it lets you access all the loot in the area. Obviously you can only take 2 things, but you can take unlimited ammo. Super good for getting ammo and heals late game. Okay, up next is S tier. Firstly, I've got Bloodhound. Bloodhound is an excellent choice. Their passive is obviously the footprints. It shows footprints and little marks on the floor to tell you how recently an enemy was nearby. Super useful. Their tactical is obviously the scan. Marks enemies in the area. The team obviously can see it. Super useful, super strong. The best scanning thing in the game. And Bloodhound, their ultimate is obviously the beast mode. Everything goes black and white. You get a speed boost, a massive speed boost. You also, all the enemies are obviously highlighted in red as well. Now next up in S tier is Valkyrie. Valkyrie, probably the best movement legend in the game. You obviously have jetpack as passive, super OP. The rockets as the tactical. The rockets are really good for stunning enemies and doing damage. Jetpack's really good for positioning. Obviously you have your petrol, which you need to be careful about. And her ultimate, the ultimate positioning tool, whether that's escaping enemies, attacking enemies, or getting to the zone. I think it's called Skywalk. You obviously get, basically, you go up in the sky and you fly with your team to a new position. Super. Okay, up next in S tier is Wraith. Wraith is probably been one of the best legends since the launch of Apex. Passive is the voices in the head. If you get aimed at or shot or something, you'll get notified. You can. Tactical is obviously the void jump. Jump in the void. You're invincible in this, but there's a little outline. The enemies can't see you, but it's really good for repositioning to a little safer area. But yeah, still really good. Her ultimate is portal. The portal links 2 areas. Really good for pushing or saving your team if you're in a bad position. You can use it to push up into buildings or behind some cover to get a sneaky angle, or you could just maybe use it to save a knock teammate and take him to a safer area. Wraith, excellent legend, has always been, and is now obviously got a new story with Mirage, Newcastle and Bangalore, which is going on. Super good legend, super fun, and deserving of a good spot. Okay, Horizon is the next legend. Horizon, super fun to play as. Firstly, that's what I'll say. She's super fun. Obviously, passive, the jump jets. You don't take that much fall damage. Not fall damage, like movement loss when full damage when hitting the ground. Super good. Super good. You don't get stunned or anything. Tactical is this. You can go to get high ground easy. Really good for healing if you're in trouble. Really good for getting a new position. Obviously enemies can use it, but your horizon, you obviously get the movement boost, which is super nice. Ultimate is the Newt, the huge black hole. You throw it, makes a huge black hole, sucks all the enemies in. Super good. Move on to the final legend, and the final legend is obviously going to be Gibraltar. He's super strong right now. He obviously has his passive gun shield. It's like ridiculously strong. It comes back so fast as well. He obviously has fortified as well, like Caustic and Newcastle, so he takes a bit less damage to Gibraltar. His tactical is his dome shield. Basically, keeps you safe. Gibraltar's ultimate is obviously his airstrike. Airstrike really good for clearing out an area. Really good in combination with his dome shield. Obviously his ultimate airstrike, super good. Does a lot of damage as well. And yeah, Gibraltar. Probably more of a ranked legend than a public game legend. Definitely. But he's quite fun to play as well. And yeah, Gibraltar is probably the best legend in the game when it comes to just general play. Well, this has been my Apex Legends tier list of all the legends. I hope you enjoyed. All my socials will be linked in the description. And thank you for watching.